Good afternoon, everyone, Eastern Time. This is Kevin. You're live with me. And if you are expecting my conversation with Krister Ungerbock, we've had a little technical delay. So we're going to reschedule with Krister. And I promise you that when he joins us, you're going to be glad that he did. We'll do a live, hopefully do a live on the Remarkable Leadership podcast right here for you to see it first. But all of these changes happened just about 8 minutes ago. And so I had a decision to make. The decision is, do I still go live or do I not? I'm not going to have Krister. That's going to be later. I promise that you'll be able to find that out and join us. But the question was, do I go live or do I not? And so it's interesting that just this morning I released a post on my blog a little bit about decision making. There's our blog, a little bit about decision making. And in fact, I suggested that one of the ways to make decisions is to flip a coin. And the idea of using the coin flip to make a decision is to help us, without going into a lot of detail, is to help us test against our intuition, right? If we have two decisions and they could go either way, if we assign each decision to the coin flip, when the coin lands, if we say, wow, that was the right decision, or we suddenly feel good about it, then our intuition is agreeing with that. But if we flip it, it comes down and our mind immediately goes to, well, maybe we should do 2 out of 3, or maybe Kevin's just crazy to use a coin flip to make a decision. Then maybe your intuition is saying, maybe that wasn't the right call. A lot more about that in that blog post this morning. But when I did that mental coin flip, about 5 minutes before it was time to go live, my intuition agreed and said, we told people we'd go live, and so here we are. So I likely won't be live as long as I would have been if Krister were with me, and he will be with me again soon. But since I'm here, and since you're here, I've got a couple things I want to share with you. But since we're live, we can talk about whatever you want. So post a comment, ask me a question, and I'll answer whatever you want. If you got a question about remote leadership, you got a question about being an effective member of a remote team, we can talk about those things. Anything else that you want to talk about, we can do that. Since I'm here, it's probably a lovely time. Thank you. Good afternoon to you as well. Since I'm here, it's probably a good time to share this with you. If you follow me on LinkedIn, you may have seen this. If you follow me on Facebook, you may have seen this as well. This is our brand new book that's coming out in January, and we just got our copies on Friday. So it's always a cool thing to have copies of your book for the first time. We wrote the book before March, before most of the pandemic issues, but now the book, here it is, The Long Distance Teammate, Stay Engaged and Connected While Working from Anywhere. People often ask me, Kevin, what's the big idea of the book? And here is the big idea. I'll put a link to it up here. You can learn more by going there. Here's the big idea of the book. Since March, people have been talking a lot about how do we work from home? And there's hashtag WFH, work from home, and all of this conversation about working from home. Here's the thing. There's a big difference between working from home and being an effective member of a long distance team or of a remote team. And so the book's point is that just being good at doing our work from our home isn't really enough. It's not really what we want. It's certainly not what our organization wants, because there's more to our work than our individual work. There's the work of the team. There's being a part of the team. And we consciously picked the word teammate for an important reason. And the reason we picked the word teammate is that if I'm your teammate, there's a emotional connection, isn't there? If I see you as my teammate, I want you to be successful. I see us as in this together. It's easy for me to be a member of a team. It's a whole different level of investment to see you as my teammate. And that's really the big difference between team member and teammate, at least how we see it here at the Kevin Eikenberry Group and in the remote Leadership Institute. So again, I'm here, not in our original plan for this time, but I'm happy to answer any questions you have about that idea, about remote work, about building your remote team, whether you're a leader or a team member. And let me say this as well, that if this book excites you, if you like the idea of this book, there are some ways that you can certainly go to Amazon or wherever you buy books, and you can pre-order it now for January delivery. But there's also a way right now that you can join our launch team and help us promote the book, and in doing so, get a bunch of free stuff, including getting a digital version of the book right away. And so let's just let me give you a link here. It's not an easy link. I'll just send you back here, actually. If you go back to the blog and scroll down to the second blog post, I'll put this in the comments. It will go to some of the groups. Some of you will be able to see this, not everybody. Let me put this in the comments. If you go to this link specifically, yeah, that's going to show up in some of the places. That gives you the chance to be a part of our launch team. And to be a part of our launch team simply means that if you will help us promote this book leading up to the launch, we'll give you a bunch of free stuff, including the digital copy of the book immediately. So if you go to that link that you see, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, if you go to that link right now, or if you go to blog.kevinikenberry.com and scroll down to the second post, you'll find how you can join our launch team. We'd love to help you get insights in this book right away. Now, someone's asked me a question about leading a team. I'm going to answer just quickly about how to lead your remote team. And while that's a big question, let me just give you a couple of quick ideas that will help you in that regard. And here they are. If you are leading a remote team, you must be far more intentional than you were before, right? Because some of the things that we used to do that just sort of happened because we saw people in the hallway and those sorts of things, we don't see people in the hallway. We have to be more intentional about how we interact with people, about making sure that we interact with people and those sorts of things. And so if we want to lead our team remotely, number one, we must remember everything we already know about leadership and about leading effectively. And then we just need to transfer those thoughts to doing it remotely. Have confidence that what you knew about leading a team before will still apply when you apply the nuances of doing it remotely. And the main single thing I would say, while there's lots more we could talk about, I would say is being more intentional, thinking about how do I make sure that I'm reaching out to my team, making sure that I'm thinking about how I'm keeping my team connected to me and to each other is critically important to our ultimate success, right? It's critically important to our ultimate success. And so, well, thank you, Miss Katie. I appreciate that. So the point that I want to leave you with in this abbreviated and unplanned live is simply the idea that we are currently working and leading in a world for many that is remote. And so if that's the case in the situation that you're in, don't just try to survive it and continue to survive it until the pandemic allows us to go back to work, because you may not send everybody back. You may not be going back. But even if you eventually will, it's too long for us to just try to survive it between now and then, but rather we need to think about what we can do to get the most for ourselves, get the most for our teammates, get the most for our organization while we're doing this work this way. And this book will help us think about that in the short term and in the long term. And so I hope that that's helpful, hope that that's useful. And as promised, we'll have Krister Ungerbock with us, soon to talk about talk shifts. We just had a bit of a challenge today. So if that's why you joined us, I'm apologizing for that, but hopefully it was useful to spend a couple minutes thinking about this idea of not just working from home, but being an effective, connected, engaged member of a remote team. And if you take that idea as your starting point, that would be a lovely way for you to get started. I wish you great success, everyone. I wish you a wonderful day and a wonderful week. And I hope that you will be well and be remarkable. We'll see you all soon.